You do everything right. You work hard, you try to save, but you still feel like you're running in place. It feels like your paycheck is shrinking, even when you get a raise. I'm here to tell you, it's not in your head. There's a hidden tax secretly draining your wallet every single day. It's the debt tax. The government's multi-trillion-dollar shopping spree is making your life more expensive, and I'm going to show you exactly how and what you can do about it. Let's start with that giant, scary number you hear about on the news. As of late 2025, the US national debt has blown past a mind-boggling $37 trillion. To put it in perspective, that $37 trillion is more than half of the US GDP and makes it the largest debt of any country in history. It's a figure so huge it feels unreal, but it's very, very real. So, what is it? Think of a government as a household that lives on credit card. Its income is the taxes we all pay. Its spending is everything from Social Security and the military to roads. The problem is, for decades the government has spent much more than it brings in. This yearly shortfall is the budget deficit. To cover that deficit, the government borrows money by using treasury bonds, basically IOUs. And just like a credit card, this debt racks up interest. A lot of interest. And that's where the trouble for your wallet really begins. This isn't a new problem, but the scale is. 4 decades ago, the entire national debt was under $2 trillion. Today, it's over $37 trillion and growing by billions every day. And it's not slowing down. The Non-Partisan Congressional Budget Office, CBO, projects that under current policies, the debt will rocket past $52 trillion within the next decade. This has stopped being a problem for our grandkids. The consequences are hitting our bank accounts right now. How do we rack up a bar tab this big? It wasn't one single event, but a decades-long spending spree kicked into overdrive by recent crises. The 2008 financial meltdown and the COVID-19 pandemic triggered trillions in emergency spending. But even after the emergencies passed, the high spending levels remained. This is a bipartisan issue. Both parties have added to the debt with unpaid-for tax cuts and new spending programs. A huge chunk of the budget is on autopilot programs like Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Millions of Americans rely on these programs, but their costs are growing much faster than our economy, creating a structural gap that widens every year. But here's the most stunning fact. Last year, for the first time in modern American history, the government spent more money on interest payments for the national debt than on the entire budget for national defense. We now spend more just to service our past borrowing than we do to fund our military. According to the CBO, these interest costs are the fastest growing part of the federal budget. They are projected to keep climbing, swallowing an ever larger chunk of your tax dollars, money that could have gone to education, infrastructure, or even back in your pocket. This is the engine driving the hidden debt tax that's making you poorer. So, how does a crazy number in Washington, D.C. actually reach into your pocket? It happens in 3 sneaky ways. First, the inflation tax. When the government needs to borrow trillions, the Federal Reserve can help by creating new money to buy government bonds. This devalues your money. When trillions of new dollars are pumped into the system to finance government debt, the value of every dollar you've saved and earned goes down. That's inflation. It's why your groceries cost more and your salary doesn't go as far. It's a hidden tax because the value is silently stolen from the dollars in your bank account. While many factors cause inflation, massive federal debt puts significant upward pressure on prices. Second, you pay the interest rate penalty. The US government is the biggest borrower on the planet. When it needs to borrow trillions, it competes for money with everyone else, including you. Economists call this the crowding out effect. To attract all those lenders, the government has to offer higher interest rates on its bonds. Since Treasury bonds are seen as the world's safest investment, they set the floor for all other interest rates. The result? Your mortgage costs more, your car loan costs thousands more. Credit card rates climb even higher. It makes it more expensive for you to live your life and for businesses to expand and create jobs. Finally, there's the slower growth effect. This crowding out doesn't just hit your wallet, it puts a brake on the entire economy. When businesses must pay more to borrow, they invest less. They hold off on building new factories, buying new equipment, and hiring people. Less investment means lower productivity, which leads to slower wage growth for you. Instead of money flowing to innovative ideas, it's rerouted to pay interest on yesterday's spending. The result is a smaller economic pie for all of us. As the Brookings Institution has pointed out, large deficits hurt future generations by reducing national saving and investment. So far, we've talked about the pain you're feeling today, but there's a much bigger risk looming: a full-blown fiscal crisis. For decades, America has borrowed cheaply because the world has had total faith in our ability to pay our debts. But this faith isn't guaranteed forever. As the debt balloons to levels never seen before, investors might start to wonder if we're good for it. If they lose that confidence, they could demand much higher interest rates or stop buying our debt entirely. This could trigger a financial crisis that would make 2008 look like a walk in the park, forcing the government into sudden, brutal spending cuts and tax hikes. This isn't just a scare tactic, it's a warning from economists. In fact, historian Niall Ferguson identified a pattern in the fall of great powers. The moment their spending on debt interest surpasses their spending on defense. The United States crossed that exact threshold last year. We are in uncharted waters, ignoring the alarm bells at our own peril. This can feel overwhelming, and while you can't solve the national debt alone, you are not powerless. You can build a financial fortress to protect your family from this instability. First, go to war with high-interest debt. In a world of rising rates driven by government borrowing, credit card balances are your worst enemy. Make a plan and attack that debt aggressively. The money you save on interest is a guaranteed return you can use to fight back. Second, know exactly where your money is going. In an inflationary world, this is mission critical. When your dollar is shrinking, you need to be the master of your cash flow. A disciplined budget lets you see the real-time impact of inflation. Cut waste and redirect that money to where it matters most. Third, don't let your savings melt away. Holding lots of cash in a standard savings account during high inflation is like carrying water in a leaky bucket. It loses purchasing power every day. You need to put your money to work in assets that can outpace inflation. This could be a diversified mix of stocks, real estate, or other assets that tend to hold their value over time. This isn't about getting rich quick, it's about preserving the wealth you've worked so hard for. The national debt isn't just a political headline, it's a real and present danger to your financial health. The government spending has unleashed a hidden debt tax that chips away at your purchasing power through inflation, drives up your cost of living with higher interest rates, and dims your future by slowing the economy. The path we're on isn't sustainable, but while we must demand better from our leaders, we can't afford to wait for Washington to get its house in order. You have to take control of your own financial destiny. By attacking your debt, commanding your budget, and making your money work for you, you can build a secure future, no matter how irresponsible Washington behaves. This is your money, take control of it. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more hard truths. Don't get left behind.